Hey everybody, the 100th episode of Funbearable will be live at the Comedy Connection in East Providence, Rhode Island on Sunday, July 21st. I want to do more of a monster truck one.
Sunday, July 21st at the Comedy Connection in East Providence, Rhode Island. It's Funbearable number 100 live with the Gravedigger, Ray Harrington.
What are the other trucks? Anyway, buy tickets at funbearablepod.com. I don't know the monster truck names.
It's the Gravedigger.
It's who else? Who else? What other trucks? What are they doing? One truck digs graves.
It's the Shovel Slasher. It's the Bug Crusher.
No, that's not intimidating. Most people crush bugs when they see them.
It's the Gas Guzzler. He's bad for the environment.
No, they probably wouldn't advertise that. That's not a selling point.
It's the Pizza Deliverer.
See, I'd like that. I'd like to see the monster truck do all the things and then, swing around and slap me a pie. Funbearablepod.com for tickets. I thank you. So I wanted to bring up something that Brad came up with the other day that I love. It's a new Funbearable saying.
Okay.
Ready for this?
I don't know if this is something I actually said or if
You
this
did.
is a Chuck
I said
truth.
was this a typo? And you said, no, I came up with that.
Oh, that's right.
And it is, let's say you want someone to sit down, park your pork.
Park your pork.
What do you think?
I parked my car and I said, I parked my pork by whatever, so I'm walking to meet you. And he's like, oh, it's a typo. I'm like, no, I thought park and pork, like they're very similar words. Just one letter difference.
I like park your pork because it's referring to your genitals for sure, as opposed to your ass, I think.
I think it depends on who you say it to. If you say it to a lady, it feels different. It feels maybe like sit your fat ass down.
Well,
That's what
I
it
didn't
feels
think
like.
about
As
that.
a big man, if I hear park your pork, I'm like, oh, hey, why don't you go fuck yourself? You know what
wow.
I mean? Yeah.
So I said it just to be like, goofy and silly, and it's just a wordplay. And Chuck was like, it's a sex thing. And I'm like, nope, it's not a sex thing.
I feel you could probably say like, I'm going to park my pork in your ass.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
that's-
But parking
Yeah.
implies it's there and then it stays there.
So maybe this is a situation where it's said in vows.
What about...
I vow to honor and cherish you, and I am officially parking my pork. And everybody applauds, like, wow, what a great guy.
You know what? I will say Cardi B.
Yeah,
Think about-
sure.
Park that big Mack truck right in this little garage. She's talking about having sex,
Sure.
right?
Yeah, she and I are basically the same in terms of wordplay.
In a lot of ways, yeah.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
park your pork.
Wet ass pork.
Yep. That's just a lot of barbecue sauce on my sandwich.
Yeah.
I do think park your pork is really funny.
Yeah.
There is something fun about it, but it does border on either sexual or insulting.
Yeah.
I do think
Yeah.
that's
I
part
thought
of it.
you
Maybe
were-
both if you play it right.
Yeah. I thought you were going to talk. I said the idea of instead of yikes, if something isn't that grievous, saying yike, singular,
Okay.
where I'm like,
It's
yeah.
only one
Yeah, it's only one yike.
yeah.
And I basically it's me saying like, I asked this girl out and she said this, and Chuck's like, oh, yikes. And I'm like, no, like I'm trying to save it. I'm like, no, it's just a yike.
Yeah,
She probably did have to wash her hair that night.
Now it sounds different though.
Yeah.
Now I'm hearing yike as in almost an insulting word.
No.
Like yikes on bikes
I used to
comes
say-
from a different phrase.
Well, it was yike on a trike.
Okay, yeah.
Hold on, what's the yikes on bikes? What is that?
Well, yikes on bikes. I remember. I think I heard it for the first time in Happy Endings.
Yeah.
I said yikes on bikes years ago.
Yeah.
And someone's like, this was in a TV show.
Yeah, Happy Endings. The one that we've both.
I've watched
really
the first
enjoyed.
season.
That's fantastic. You haven't gotten up to yikes on bikes, I guess, but it comes from a different phrase.
Yeah.
That also rhymes. That's a word used for.
Oh, I see.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, which one?
Oh no.
There's two. There's two offensive words that rhyme with yike.
Yeah.
One
Now
is
I know
one
what
is
you're talking
racial
about.
and
Right.
one is
one is
Slurish.
sexual proclivity.
Yes.
And we're talking about the sexual proclivity.
Oh, we're not talking about the racial.
No. Oof. I would be confused if like a racist person said that version on bikes. I'd be like, I think you got it wrong.
It's so funny.
I'm offended on two levels now.
On Tuesdays, this is like in the past like couple months, Joe List told me he met someone named Kike on
Oh no.
on a trip where he was recording his album, like or around the time he was recording his album, and he wanted to thank Kike in the liner notes of his album. And no one respected the little accenty things. that you put above.
Yeah.
They just wrote the word the way he spelled it.
Oh no.
Yeah, not great.
No.
But then again, I don't know if anyone is reading the thank you notes of an album, seeing a singular version of that word and being like, this was definitely meant as a racist thing.
Right,
It's
right.
not, the context is very strange.
Yeah. Well, I think also, to get to that in those liner notes for Joe List, you have to get past a lot of N-words.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the
weird.
other slurs.
It's weird because he goes through and by each person he thanks, he uses a rational epithet for whatever they are.
Right.
In
parentheses.
brackets, like right after it.
Well, you know what's amazing? No repeats.
None. He knows a lot of people.
Yeah.
Can we start this episode?
Hello and welcome to another episode of Funbearable. I am Brad Rohr. Cute bit. We're all laughing. So
hi.
funny.
I'm Ray Harrington. You caught me just reading my new book that I thought would help with my interpersonal relationships on this podcast.
Has it?
Well, I'm still reading it.
Oh, okay.
And I'm Chuck Savage Staten.
For the viewer listener, I'm holding a small book called "How to Deal with Toxic People." It's a very small.
Where'd
book.
you get it from?
I bought it.
Really?
Here's a fun story, and I think you can appreciate this for sure.
Yeah.
I was with my son Finn, and we were running errands.
Right.
And I had to go pick up a prescription. And I went to CVS.
Yes.
And by the prescription counter, there's like books.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are like religious too, right? And and when I picked this up, I didn't realize like there's an entire chapter where it's like, give it up to God. And I'm like, I don't think that's what this is about. And I saw this book, How to Deal with Toxic People, and I chuckled and I said, this would be funny on the podcast.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then I looked at it and it was $7.99. And I thought about it, and Finn was like, you should get it and do it as a joke on the podcast.
Yeah.
He now refers to you guys as Chad because I did that one time.
Yeah.
And
Chuck and Brad.
He has stuck with it.
Yeah.
And he said, you should get it and do a joke on Chad's. And I was like $7.99, and I said to him, you know what? It's funny, but it's not an $8 joke.
Ah.
Okay.
And I didn't get it.
You stole it.
No, I went on Amazon.
You had Finn steal it.
I went on Amazon.
Little hint.
And it was only $4.50.
There
on
we go.
Amazon.
There you go.
You know,
And I
that's,
went, this is a $4.50 joke.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Oh,
I
it
think
does.
about that. We've talked about this in the past where it's like maybe getting a thing for a bit that we like in the live show, stuff
Yes.
like that. Is that a $20 joke? No, then let's not spend $20 on that thing.
Right.
Right. I like that
Oh,
idea.
yeah. Me too.
You know?
I've done a lot for Christmas gifts and stuff where I'm like, this is going to be funny. We'll get together for Christmas,
Yeah.
like a bunch of us. And then I'm like, how much? You
Yeah.
know, and it's tough. You gotta weigh it.
yeah, Chuck despises the wrestler Kane.
I
And
do.
so I'm like, it would be funny if I got Chuck an autographed photo of Kane, but it's $50-something. And I'm
not a
like,
$50
it's,
joke?
it's not a $50 joke.
Yeah. What you do is you get a picture.
Yep.
Of,
You sign it.
of
And then
this
I sign
cane,
it.
and then
Yeah.
you sign it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. That's good.
That's
That
like
makes more
a
sense.
$5 joke.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
think that's well worth it.
Yeah, I
but
think
I
so
have
too.
been reading it a little bit, and it
Yeah.
has been helping a little.
Good.
bit. Like sometimes we'll get in a little tete-a-tete.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Tet.
Charles and myself.
Yeah.
And
I'll do the
for
waffle.
instance, you waffle all the time. There's a whole thing about you in here for sure.
Well, backing out of the room slowly.
The the angry venter.
Yes.
I think is maybe one. Oh, vendor. I'm sorry. No. Fine. Here's the Coke. Go fuck yourself. No. So, we got in that argument about the idea of copying the DeLorean through time travel, right?
Yeah, I know.
And then
Are you
it never
still
went
sticking to
away.
Your crazy thing.
This is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It never went away. It never went away. And that's because, and this is what I learned when arguing with Chuck, what we're dealing with, Brad, is a tank.
I could see that.
A tank crushes everything in its wake. A
Okay, right
human
there.
tank is always right. doesn't take anyone else's feelings or ideas into account, and constantly puts themselves first. In a relationship, tanks are incredibly arrogant and see their personal opinions as facts.
Yeah.
This is because they often think they are the smartest person in the room,
Yep.
so they see every conversation and person as a challenge that must be won over.
It's true.
They see every person as a challenge they must be won over?
Yes.
Yeah,
Like if you meet a new person, you're like, this is a challenge. I got to win this guy over.
I think so.
Yeah, I think those were the exact words.
What does that mean? Can you explain that to me? You explain
Yeah,
it, Brad.
that you have to get them to agree with you about everything.
agree with you about everything.
Yeah.
Oh, weird.
Maybe in a way of saying like, I like this thing, so do you love
it?
this thing?
Or
do you absolutely hate this thing?
It's one or the other.
You know, a lot of times that can stem from someone never emerging from emotional adolescence.
Interesting.
Seasoned parents might look at some traits and behaviors common to toxic people: selfishness, making everything about themselves, addiction to drama, a tendency towards victimhood. That one, when I read a tendency towards victimhood, so many random encounters with like customer service
This
people
post
that we've
office
heard.
woman.
I'm gonna kill myself.
Hold on. I just bought nunchucks. I love to be the aggressor.
You're gonna use them to kill yourself at the post office.
The one time I try, I keep missing.
And hitting other people. I just thought it was a very funny joke, and to not, you know, not. I don't want to make it sound like this is an attack on you. I think the funny thing is you could read this like a horoscope,
Yes.
and just be like, "That's you."
Oh, yeah.
and that's you,
Exactly.
and that's me.
It's very vague.
You know,
Exactly.
it's all that stuff.
It's so vague as that.
But yeah, but thank you, Gregory L. Jantz, PhD.
Can I say
Dr.
one quick thing?
Jantz.
Dr. Jantz.
I'm not going to relitigate, but I just want to put up for the record our Back to the Future thing. The unfortunate truth: there is nothing in the Back to the Future trilogy that proves either me right or proves Ray right. So we're in a stalemate. But he refuses to accept this.
No, I just don't. I don't agree with your statement.
Well, what is in there?
I don't want to read. I don't want to relitigate.
There's
I
nothing
see.
in there.
10
There is-
signs.
there
You're
is-
being manipulated.
there is-
You're always the one who's wrong.
There is something in the Back to the Future trilogy that supports my theory, but it was a cut scene.
You feel like a power struggle is underway.
Unfortunately, it was a cut scene.
I'm gonna back out the door right now.
Yeah, exactly. Just like Biff's cane. Anyway, moving forward.
It's implied or said that you're selfish when you don't submit or agree.
I'm agreeing to disagree.
Okay.
That's not an agree.
The individual denies culpability. It's textbook, literally.
I'm culpable for agreeing to disagree.
All right.
That's true, though.
Manipulators minimize or
You know
your
that-
problems or concerns.
Do you know what I've been in? I've been in a lot of arguments with people where I want to end the argument by saying I think neither of us are wrong, and the person is like, "No, I'm right." Haven't you noticed that, like with Sousa with the VW Olympic stuff?
Yeah.
It's really interesting because I would rather have a thing being like, I think we're both a version of right than one of us has to win. But I think a lot of other people don't like that. They'd rather have a distinct, no, one of us is wrong.
Yeah.
You know, and I think a lot of times it's a little bit more ambiguous. You know, like the Back to the Future thing, I think is ambiguous. I think there's not something that perfectly demonstrates either side of the argument. I think neither of us are wrong.
Okay.
Ray thinks I'm wrong.
It's also a very minor thing, and we're
Yeah.
still talking about it, and that seems insane. Service workers are treated poorly.
I thought you said surface workers.
Yeah.
And I was like,
You're good to the mole
construction
people.
guys?
You're good to the mole people. The mole people love you.
More people are under the surface, buddy.
Mole people love me.
Those are
Yeah.
dwellers.
But anyway, that was a $4.50 joke.
Worth
It
it.
was worth about $4.45. I think really, it was just a fun.
I was
goof.
actually gonna go like 475.
Oh!
And like start playing the game of where does it end?
It is an interesting thing as like funny makers
Especially
to think about like those kinds of questions
Yeah.
of like how much is that joke worth?
And it's funny because this is really specific because it's podcast, but we've all done live shows and film projects where props come into it.
Yes.
And that's where this really does become a dollar amount that is
Yeah.
measured.
Oh, are you kidding me?
yeah.
When we did Undependent,
Yeah.
we had to come down from Rhode Island, Derek and I, and meet in New York City with Lee and the rest of the crew.
Staten Island or
No, Manhattan.
real-
Yeah,
real
the
New York
real
City.
city.
Oh,
yeah.
like the touristy thing. I get that.
No, it was working and living. Yeah,
yeah, the tours.
yeah, the Twin Towers.
I've
Very
been to Cape
touristy. But anyway, let's see what page this is. But we had to bring the props that we were going to use for the show.
Yeah.
And we had scripts and we had to make the list of the props and stuff. And it did become a thing where we had a budget to shoot this pilot.
I know.
And it really did turn into like, here's this scene with this joke in it that requires 4 purchases of hefty value. And I had to cut some scenes where it's just like, we don't have the money for that. We can't afford to make that joke.
Absolutely.
You know, and it blows. I hate that.
Oh yeah, and it's not even props. It's like when Brad and I went to Ohio to shoot the sizzle reel for Big Little Brawlers.
Yeah.
Like I had to bring recording equipment.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, cameras, tripods, audio equipment. How much of that are you bringing on the plane? And also, if you decide to bring more, at some point, the suitcase is going to be heavier and you're going to have to pay more.
Yep.
Or you're going to have to bring a second suitcase and bring more. And you're just kind of like...
Yeah, and Brad was already squeezed into that one carry-on.
Yeah, I know.
You're like, I guess we don't need this thing. I guess we don't need this
Yeah.
thing. And it's like...
And then you just hope you don't need it.
yeah, exactly. And you just have to hope.
Oh, can I say about that really quickly?
Yeah.
I didn't think we would talk about this, but depending on when this comes out, I might likely be in Alaska when this airs or drops or whatever phrase we use now.
Porks.
When we park this pork.
We parked this pork.
That's the right way to use that phrase.
Yeah. When this pork gets parked.
Ugh, when are we going to park this pork?
I know, really. So that's what Sully Sullenberger said when he landed the plane. And I just want to let everybody know we've landed safely and we parked this pork.
They're in the writer's room and they're like, we have to change it. And someone's like, but it's
he
what
actually
he
said
said.
it. Yeah. It's the name of his autobiography.
Yes.
How I Parked the Pork and Other Lessons in the Air with Sully Sullenberger.
Listen, man, you got to stop using that phrase. Like,
He's like, that's what I say.
no, he goes, what phrase?
Stop saying park the pork. That's like telling me to not be called Sully anymore. So,
Pulls down the Sullenberger family crest.
fine. You really made me the Sullenberger here.
I may be a burger, but I parked this pork.
So I have to go to Alaska for 3 weeks, right?
Yes.
And on this recent trip to Ireland and London,
Yeah.
I brought a full checked bag and my backpack.
Right.
Right. It was a 2-week trip, but it was a family thing, so
Yes.
it's different.
Yes.
And what I learned then, I've gotten very used to carry on only.
Right.
When I travel, I have gotten used to it.
I'm just getting used to it.
Yeah, and it's
It's funny because I always flew Southwest. So
Yeah.
you got a suitcase for free, and I've never lost my luggage. But now
Yeah.
I'm flying to Colorado all the time for my relationship, and a lot of the times the cheapest flights don't let you have a suitcase. So I'm like, well, I can add $50 to my ticket.
Yeah.
Or I can just try to fit it all in a thing. So I'm just getting into it.
Yeah, and I'm doing it because when I started working cruise ships, which is occasional work,
Yeah.
that's not my main thing, but when I started doing it, all the paperwork even says like try and stay to carry on only.
Okay.
Because as a person working, if I check a bag and that bag is delayed in any way,
Yeah.
I can't just pick it up at the airport tomorrow.
Oh.
I'm gone.
Yeah.
I'm on a ship in the ocean.
I see.
Right? So I can't get that bag until the trip is done.
I see.
And that might have your clothes for shows or whatever
Yeah.
you need.
Yeah.
So they're like, keep to the carry on only. I've met a few other performers that are like, it's insane. I can't do that. Right?
Depending on the time period. I mean, you guys
Yeah.
are on there for a little bit.
Yeah. And in this case, for the Alaska stuff, I'm gone for 3 weeks.
Ooh, it's gonna be a great time.
I'm
3
sure you've
weeks.
told me this. Can I? So I apologize for asking again. Do you get to wash your clothes on the chip?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I have to use the like
A fishing rod.
yeah. I'm out there. I'm like a
Agitating.
merchant marine.
Agitate it. Bring
You
it
got
back
the
up.
hair
Yeah.
dryer because it freezes in the Alaska water.
God, your clothes stink. Yeah. Well, they hurt too.
Fish.
Yes.
It's fish.
Yeah, they also hurt. They're salty and scratchy.
Yeah.
I'll just pull up this white fur coat It's a Polaroid. It's so dumb.
But I have to use the laundromat thing that's
Yeah.
on the ship for passengers. I can't use the crew side, which would be so much easier and free.
Yeah.
But whatever. But it is 3 weeks, right?
Yeah.
And
That's a long time.
having to lug the full size suitcase when I was in Ireland and London sucked so bad.
I
got
agree with
used
that.
to the carry-on size, and it's so smooth. It's like that process. I really like it. I am enticed by the idea of like the minimalist traveler that only has a backpack.
Me too.
But
Me
I'm
too.
also 6'7" and morbidly obese. Like a regular sized person just rolling up like, and now here's 3 pairs of pants at the bottom of the backpack. I'm like, cool, that's 1 pair of jeans for me. You know what I mean? So that becomes difficult.
Yeah.
I am going to try to go carry on only for that 3 weeks. My thinking is I only really need 1 show outfit.
Yeah.
One
Right.
pair of pants and t-shirts are normal, and then like 1 bomber jacket thing, and that can be my clothes for shows.
Yes.
And I just wear them at shows and then go back into the everyday stuff.
Right.
And I think I could get away with it, but 3 weeks is a long time to find out if you can get away with it.
That's true.
I can't be like
yeah.
a week in and go, I don't have enough stuff.
Yeah.
You know? Wow. But my thinking is I pack for a week on these cruises, and the clothes I think are going to basically be the same because I can just wash my clothes.
That's
Yeah.
what I think.
I do laundry in that week anyway.
Yes.
To get through the fact that I'm there for a full week with show clothes.
Right.
In carry on only. So it's, I don't know. It is freaking me out a little bit. I've
Yeah.
been watching a lot of YouTube videos about packing.
The clothing doesn't seem that bad. I'm just wondering, like, is everything else pretty much the same? I guess it is. Like
For me,
in
it's
terms
shoes.
of, do you want to change your shoes that much?
multiple pairs of shoes. Well, they take up space.
Yeah, I usually bring like my everyday shoes, like sneakers that I'm wearing, and then I bring 1 pair of like nicer sneakers or shoes to wear for the shows.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
Like if I have a pair of like white leather sneakers, I don't want to wear those every day all day and get them like all scuffed up and gross and then walk out on stage. and be
Yeah,
like,
I
"Hey,"
get it.
You know?
I get it.
I'm also a big man, so I can't look as like
Frumpy?
casual frumpy.
Yeah.
I have to try and dress up a little bit.
You don't want to pull the Sandler.
Right, because it's like Sandler frumpiness at a 3, just being my size is an 8. You know what
Yeah,
I
I
mean?
get it, yeah.
And yeah, so it is going to be weird. It's going to be a very weird thing, but I think
Yeah.
I'm going to try. I think the hardest part is like there's a couple of items that I can't bring on carry-on
Yeah.
that you can bring when it's checked.
Yeah.
That will be the struggle.
Nunchucks.
The nunchucks are a big part
Yeah.
of it.
You know what?
If they're filled with liquid.
if it gets really bad, just let us know, and we'll like rent a plane, and we'll fly up there, and we'll just drop stuff onto the boat for you.
All right.
Yeah.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
I am toying with the idea of figuring out some way to do some kind of remote thing with the podcast while I'm there.
You should.
We'll
That'd be
talk
awesome.
about it
Yeah.
afterwards.
That'd be awesome.
We'll figure it out. Maybe I'll get a satellite phone.
Yeah. From Jurassic Park.
yeah. But so we're here. We're into the episode, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it might be nice to incorporate a little bit of fun here while I'm
No thanks.
gone in the great wilds, right?
Yeah.
Previously, we did an episode with Chuck Klosterman's hypothetical questions.
Yes.
Yeah.
28 questions.
Yeah.
I would like to bring a few more back
Sure.
to this podcast. I think
Sure.
it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, do
Yes.
it. I'm down for it.
Yeah, I was going through, I did delete a couple that just were like too specific that required you to like watch or listen to something.
Oh, no thanks.
Both of those things suck.
Yes.
Watching a thing,
The
listening
only
to a
only
thing.
thing I would watch and or listen to is this podcast.
Right.
There you go.
Unless it's
Would, you said.
unless
Would.
it's a Chuck episode, in which case
The idea of certain episodes being like a Ray episode. Or,
well,
so
I
funny.
did. That was the Simpsons. Like I was like, a Lisa episode.
Yeah.
No, that's
that is
Now
funny.
I'm an adult. I appreciate Lisa's point of view on a lot of things.
Oh, you are a Lisa, yeah. That's your spirit animal, I think.
Oh yeah, he's a Lisa for sure. Yeah.
So we're gonna get right into it. We're gonna catch up where we left off,
Yes.
right? So these questions are fun, kind of left field hypothetical questions that are more about getting to figure you out than anything else.
Yes, of course.
He created this
It's
of
disturbing,
like
yeah.
asking these questions to people to know if he could like really connect with them. You know, like at a soulmate level or something like that. So they are wacky. Defying all expectations, a group of Scottish marine biologists capture a live Loch Ness monster.
Okay.
In an almost unbelievable coincidence, a bear hunter shoots a Sasquatch in the thigh, thereby allowing zoologists to take the furry monster into captivity. These events happen on the same afternoon.
Okay.
That evening, the president announces he may have thyroid cancer and will undergo a biopsy later that week. You are the front page editor of the New York Times. What do you play as the biggest story? That's insane, right?
Okay.
I love these questions.
Okay. Do you think that...
Loch Ness Monster is real.
Yep.
Sasquatch is real. The president might have thyroid cancer.
Okay. I mean, is there a little bit of a... I mean, I would think that the Sasquatch being real and the Loch Ness Monster being real should kind of be together in one story, right? Like it's the same kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, cryptozoologically, I can't believe I just said that genuinely.
Like the idea of being...
cryptozoologically.
The idea of doing a front page story that's like the Loch Ness Monster's real, and on page 6 also the Bigfoot's real.
Yeah.
Those seem like the same things. Like journalistic, I think
you do like the Loch Ness Monster is real front page, and then like page 3. What newspaper is it in the UK that the third page always
Telegraph?
has like
The Sun?
Is it the Sun? Yeah. The third page is like it's just a picture of like a hot woman. Like it's just an attractive woman.
Yeah.
So you do that with Sasquatch. You
Yeah.
go Bigfoot, damn, right? Like
but it's like it really is like from a journalism standpoint, they're so similar.
It's too. I think it is too hard to pull those apart.
right?
Yeah.
It'd be dumb. It doesn't make any sense.
I think what I'm doing is I'm looking for a tiny pull quote. The word momentous is what came to mind.
Yes.
And that's my headline. Huge font, momentous. And then subheadline is like, banner day in cryptozoology.
Yes.
And maybe the president's thyroid cancer, but because of the uncertainty of the president's diagnosis, I think that can be below the fold.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I agree with
but
that.
I think it's a below the fold.
Yeah, and I think our photo is split, Nessie and Squatcho, and that's our lead story. President bottom
I
third.
think Bigfoot, like he's got the Riz, and like you show like
Yeah.
wow, damn, and then Loch Ness, like he's got the drip.
Yep.
Or she.
Yep.
Or she.
She.
I do think it's tough. This question was created in a different time.
Yes.
This question was created in, I believe, the W. Bush era.
Right.
So, does that change things?
Can I? Well, this applies to that, but also I'm going to give you another angle that I think doubles down on what we're already saying.
Okay.
Hit it.
Historically, I think that the idea of the Loch Ness Monster or Bigfoot being real is going to be a bigger story historically than a president getting thyroid cancer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Maybe getting thyroid cancer.
So 50
Right.
years from now, even you're right, maybe. Yeah. Even if it is true, they're going to be like, "Oh, the president, 12, 13 presidents ago had cancer versus this is when we found out the Bigfoot and Loch Ness Monster are real."
Right.
Way more culturally significant.
The newspaper that says like man walks on the moon.
Right.
If at that same time it was like Kennedy might have herpes.
Yeah.
It's like it's
of course.
which one. But I do think there's a part
Dead
of it.
for 6 years at the time, but
Kennedy. Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
Nixon.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well,
Nixon.
he
Nixon.
spearheaded the movement to
Yes.
push it forward.
Nixon definitely. That's why he was so.
That's why he was recording everything. He's
Yeah.
like, I need to find out who gave me this herpes. I bet it was the blacks.
Yeah.
He had a lot of fun things to say about that.
Yeah.
But I do think it is a situation where it changes the world in such a big way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Versus here is the current person in charge.
Right.
Yeah.
And their situation going on. And I do think post Trump world
Yeah.
of presidents, it's
Yeah.
like, okay, that's just another thing. We have two guys running that are cognitively dirt.
Yeah.
What are we doing now? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
one of them has thyroid cancer. Sure, why not?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well,
Throw it
it's-
on the pile.
Yeah.
One of them might have
Right.
I think when Reagan was in office, he had like a colonoscopy to have some polyps removed or something like that.
Yeah.
But I don't think it was
They
front
found
page
Nancy's
news.
dentures.
Yes. Hollywood's it girl.
Golden throat.
Yeah.
What is the implication?
How about this? I think currently, were they to come out and say, we found Sasquatch, and then they were trying to pull in like the presidential political sphere, I'd be like, what are his views? Can he run?
Yeah.
Can he run?
Bigfoot versus Loch Ness Monster.
No, I'm just thinking just Bigfoot. Get rid of Joe Biden. Get rid of Donald Trump. Just put Bigfoot in. You know he'll be there for like environmental causes. You know he'll be down for that.
Well, then I think it's weird because I'm like, how would each major like 24-hour news network cover these stories?
Oh my god.
Oh man,
It immediately becomes politicized.
Oh, hyper politicized. Yeah, Fox News is out there. They're calling like Sasquatch like he's like a fucking proto-Nazi.
Yeah.
Like that's what they're saying
Yeah,
about
they're
him.
like,
he's a Marxist.
Yeah, we didn't invite him into this country, like that.
Yeah.
But then if he's like, if Sasquatch comes out and he's like, look, man. Guns are great. Fox News is like, this is a great guy. We love him. We're
He's
going to
a
vote
Ted
for him.
Nugent type. We like him.
Yeah. He's a maverick.
I think he would be against it because he's been shot in the leg to be captured.
That's true.
Right?
But I'm only shot in the leg.
Yeah, I think he'd more be like, he would be like, hey, I believe in like a community.
Yeah.
The way the Sasquatches have worked is we care for each other.
Yeah, no.
And then somebody's like, so are you saying universal health care is a good thing? And he's like, I mean, yeah, we help each other. Like I'll find a poultice made of leaves and I'll put it on like my sick wife's leg or something like that. And they're like, oh, he's a Marxist. He's a goddamn communist. We have a word for that.
Or they're all for it and they're like, small government, see?
Oh, yeah,
People
yeah.
taking care of people.
That
or
is true, yeah.
Squatches taking care of
Just
Squatches.
the idea of somebody asking Sasquatch, Bigfoot, how do you feel about taxation?
Oh,
It's
yeah.
insane.
Oh,
It
yeah,
is
yeah.
insane.
Love it.
Meanwhile, Loch Ness Monster. Well, I guess the Loch Ness Monster can't run.
Nope. Well,
Scottish.
yeah,
Or a different country.
unless they were born here.
Prove it. I want to see the full birth certificate. Everybody knows the Loch Ness Monster is Kenyan.
I cannot believe I walked into that.
Squatch is native. Squatch is native. And what we need to do is we need to create, let's say, some sort of area where they can live.
Yes, a Sasquatch.
And then there'll be a Sasquatch casino.
Yeah.
Won't that be fun? You go, you spend your money there and get to touch the fur and see it. Oh, that's nice. I don't know what I'm turning into.
No, I like it.
But it is a weird question. I do think it is like you have to go with those.
Yeah.
It's such a big ramification.
Oh yeah, it's
Yeah.
just way bigger, and you got to combine them because it's too similar.
And at this point, finding out a president might have thyroid cancer truly is just like, well, that's at least kind of normal.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
You know?
for sure. No, I agree with that.
I think if it's a presidential assassination on the same day, then I think we're
By a Sasquatch.
yeah.
See, I think it should be three. Like if I was rewriting the question, Sasquatch discovered, presidential assassination, and it's gonna be something that's not connected to either of those things. That's huge.
Alien life.
Yeah, spacey
I was
thing.
gonna say, aliens kind
That's
of
too
close
big.
to. It's
I think
close
that
to-
just takes everything.
Yeah, it's close to Sasquatch in terms of like
Ooh,
a thing we thought was.
the Chicago Bears won a football game.
But you know what I mean, though? It's like if you had three actual news sources from different topics of life, and they were all monstrous.
Elvis is alive.
Elvis is alive is pretty good.
Bat Boy is real.
Yeah, but there's already 100 episodes of this podcast.
Let me throw this out there. What if they confirm one of the other theories, conspiracy theories of John F. Kennedy's assassination?
I was just
Yeah.
thinking about that.
What if somebody comes out and is like, it was me. I did it.
Yeah.
And it was
bad.
Mr. Rogers.
Yes.
Let me ask you this.
I was aiming for Jackie.
sub question.
That's
Yes.
Mr. Rogers.
If it was just the Loch Ness Monster and Bigfoot being discovered on the same day, which one of those two is more exciting for you personally? That's an interesting question. Ooh, Brad just took this very seriously. I think he's leaning towards Squatch. Look at his shirt.
My initial thought is it's got to be the Loch Ness Monster because of the size. Like, if you're going to hide something, hiding an 8-foot thing in the woods seems easier to hide than a dinosaur.
In a large body of water, though,
Right.
You know, which is
You're
very
right.
hard to
Comb.
Yeah, right.
I'll say this. I think in an American newspaper,
Where are you going to park that pork?
I think Sasquatch is getting top billing, because it's
Well, yeah,
native
we
to
are a
America.
US paper, yeah.
However, if it instead of Loch Ness, it's Lake Champlain.
Champy?
Yeah.
I think it depends on how these creatures were captured and found and how they reacted. Because if Loch Ness Monster is basically like a fucking kaiju,
Yeah.
and it's like trying to kill people, that's probably a bigger deal.
I doubt it's trying to kill people. If it was trying to kill people, that would be happening now.
Are we thinking of it like a brontosaurus, basically?
I think so, something like
Do you
that.
think Saurus?
And then like a Sasquatch is kind of like a big ape or a big bear? Or what do you think?
I don't know. How about this? I think if Sasquatch can talk, it changes everything.
Oh yeah. What if Nessie could talk? What about that?
Oh, the stories she could tell.
I,
Why is it weird that I think of Nessie as a woman and I think of
no,
Sasquatch
she has
as
a
a
little
man?
bow. I think
Still eats the same pellets.
I think Sasquatch is there's I mean obviously there's scientific
Proof.
there's scientific ramifications. There we
Okay.
go for each of them. But I
Right.
think in terms of human evolution, because Sasquatch is from the
Wow.
mammalian, has more mammalian traits. I think
Yeah.
that Sasquatch is going to be a bigger deal.
I think a lot of it does come down to the geographical location. I think because it is a United States thing, North
Right.
America thing,
Right.
it will be covered more. If we were running a Scottish paper,
Yeah.
I don't think we're running Bigfoot discovered as the top.
I like that, like I'm working for the local Loch Ness paper and I've got a big cover story the next day about like mayor gets new hat.
Yeah. Oh no, you have like a big expose.
Yeah.
Like they're overcharging in the parking lot.
Yep.
And I finally nailed them
Yep.
and I got all the proof.
Here's the proof, and I'm
Yep.
ready. And they're like, "Hey, Brad, we're gonna have to bump your story." And I'm like, "Oh, it's all right." Beneath the fold, and they're like, "No."
It's off the paper.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that is an interesting thing. I know it's very silly. I guess the question now, the final sub question of this to ask the both of you,
Right.
are either of those things that you do believe are real or could be real? Here's where we are.
I want to say I wish I believed that it could
Craig,
be
play
real.
the X-Files music.
I wish I wish they could be real.
Yeah.
It just seems like there's too much there's a lack of mystery in
Yeah.
2024
Yeah,
in terms
yeah,
of
yeah.
like being able to know about things like this.
Yeah.
I mean,
think the old maps that said "Here be dragons," we've mapped it and we went, "Oh no, there's not."
I think also I think there are parts of the ocean floor that are unexplored.
Yeah.
But I would be surprised if Loch Ness was qualified in that same way as being
Sure.
so deep that we haven't been able to check out the whole thing.
Yeah, well, and I think it's also just it's the unknown. It's the allure of the unknown. It is a very deep body of water.
Yeah.
And so that naturally is going to make you think of things like this, right?
Yeah.
And the weird part is maybe a long, long time ago there was something.
Yeah.
Maybe. And it's just not alive now.
Well, it's probably the idea that there was a brontosaurus or a brachiosaurus or whatever
Right,
around
right.
there is probably true, right?
It could be.
Likely.
Yeah.
Likely.
Yeah, but probably not when people were there.
Yeah,
Right.
I personally don't believe in a Nessie. It would be cool. It
Oh,
would be
yeah.
a neat thing. And if you did drop me in that water today, I would freak out. I would not like it. I would try and get as high up to the edge of the water as possible.
Something
Like, you know what I mean?
brushed against my foot. I think it's a monster.
Yeah, I better shit myself for protection. It would freak me the hell out. Absolutely. Now, a Bigfoot, a Sasquatch, I fall on not likely. I don't think so.
I think much less likely.
I think there was an XKCD comic on the internet that was basically like, we live in a world now where everybody has a camera with them at all times. And so these mysteries are really getting the odds of I saw a Sasquatch, but my phone battery had died and I couldn't get, and the group I was with, all of our phone batteries had died. Like that just seems unlikely.
Yeah,
So
and think about the difference in a very short period of time.
Yeah.
Like the 60s,
Yep.
where things were much more disconnected than they are now. Whether it be camera technology or just simple communication technology, where you were getting your information from the radio and that one channel.
Yep.
Yeah, I know.
Where you could have a local paper do a local thing.
Yep. Mayor
and it
gets
would-
new hat.
And it would exist only there and be important there. Now it's everywhere, right?
Yep.
And so
Yes.
that does make it harder. It is much harder now to believe someone like driving down the road and seeing like a chupacabra.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
the Mothman.
There's no
you
room,
know?
there's no room for folk tales.
Right.
I will say this, and I'm not disagreeing. It's more like this is just like a devil's advocate. I'm really fascinated by alligators. Like I've always been fascinated by alligators and crocodiles.
Yep.
And I'm really scared of them. You know, I think they're powerful. And sometimes I'll just be like, let me look up alligator attacks, right, on YouTube. There's not that many. So it's interesting,
Yeah.
meaning like we know that alligators are real.
Yes.
We know that they really have attacked people. And
Yeah, but
attacked
have
things.
you ever seen one in real life?
But we know they attack people, but like,
Yeah.
there's not that much video evidence of them attacking people.
Right.
Like I mean, there is some, but like, there's not that much.
Yeah.
And so,
It's not enough, is what Chuck says. He can't finish.
I was going to do that joke too. Yeah. I love when they death roll. Oh my god, they get somebody's limb and then they dude, that's a real thing.
I
They
watched it
snap
last
on
night,
and then they spin.
and
Yeah.
I watched it with a girl, and she got clamped, and then the death rolled, and she rolled with it.
Yeah.
And she didn't get her arm. She did get pierced, obviously, but she didn't get her arm broken off.
her ears.
Yeah, she got a couple of them. They're cute.
This happened at a pagoda.
Yes, yeah. But like, there's really not that much out there, so
Yeah.
it kind of makes me think. As much as you want to think, if a thing exists, there's
Yeah.
a ton of footage of it. I don't know.
There
You know
is
what I mean?
there is another difficult part, which is like we think of a lot of the land just being populated.
Yeah.
But it is when you go out and you get out there and you see places, you're like, oh yeah, there really is some places where I think you could probably just hide.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I think so.
But something like a squatch,
Yeah,
it's very difficult.
and
It's
we're also
very
talking
difficult.
about like, if we're talking about a Sasquatch, there's like what, a built-in how many years of this thing hiding?
Right,
How many
yeah.
decades? Or
Yeah.
and what? There's only one. There's multiple. What are we talking about?
Yeah, maybe it's a Highlander situation. Maybe that last Squatch killed all the other Squatches and now lives forever with the power of those Squatches.
Oh, so if we kill that Sasquatch, we
We get
become
the power of the Squatch.
Yep.
We become the Squatch Squad.
Can I tell you?
Try and say that 5 times
I'd
fast.
prefer not to.
I challenge you right now, Brad. Go.
Squatch Squad, Squatch Squad, Squatch Squad, Squatch Squad, Squatch Squad.
You did it.
That's pretty good.
Chuck.
No, I can't. I can't do
try.
it. Squatch Squad, Squatch Squad, Squatch Squad, Squatch Squad, Squatch Squad.
You did it.
That was pretty good.
That was great.
That was pretty good.
Squatch Squad, Squatch Squad, Squatch Squad, Squatch Squad, Squatch Squad. I guess it is easy.
Yeah.
How about the Squatch Squad eat squash? I got to think of one more.
Nope.
I don't know.
How about this? The Squatch Squad is going to go fight the other group that has the power of the Nessie, and they are the Scotch Guard. Wait, no, that's a different thing.
Scotch?
The Scotch Squad.
Yeah.
So the Squatch Squad fights the Scotch Squad. Too much.
Yeah, it's
This
tough.
episode just tipped all the way to unbearable. No fun.
I'll say I don't really. I'm not super fascinated with Sasquatch.
Norma, I'm not a cryptozoological person. I'm not enticed by that.
I'm not either, but I am. I think the chupacabra is a cooler thing than the Sasquatch,
Sure.
and I also think Nessie's a cooler thing.
Yeah.
Sasquatch bores me. It's like
Wow. If you're
If you're
Sasquatch,
Sasquatch, we're so sorry. And Chuck's views do not represent Brad or myself.
I just feel like
if
it-
you're Sasquatch, send us an email, funbearablepod
right.
at gmail.com.
what's the
Thank you,
biggest mammalian?
Sure.
What's the biggest mammalian creature?
Blue whale.
No, not a whale, like a monkey or a bear or something. What's the biggest one?
the biggest one?
that lives on land and walks on the walks.
What about like an elephant?
Yeah.
Not like that. I'm talking about.
What
like,
do you want?
I'm
What
like-
do you want us to say?
Like a humanoid.
Get the book out, toxic people.
Like an ape or a gorilla.
Yeah, like an ape or a
like a
gorilla.
silverback gorilla.
So let's say a
It's
silverback gorilla.
probably big, or honestly, bears are probably bigger.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
So-
like a real big black bear.
yeah, like
I think
Kodiak.
black bears are small. Grizzly bears are big.
Kodiak, grizzly,
Kodiak.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So let's say that. In the world of cryptozoology, is a Sasquatch more threatening or different than like a silverback gorilla or a grizzly bear? Aren't they kind of just the same and a little bit different?
There's an air of I think once you get
like humanoid?
we could get into a huge deep dive about
The Sasquatch?
the Bigfoot stuff where there's belief of like almost paranormal levels of
Yeah.
stuff going on. Like There can be like electromagnet stuff happening
Okay.
with them. They can either be really smart or be more animalistic.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's like a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I guess the humanoid aspect of them talking is what's different.
I don't think
Combined.
they talk.
I think
some
that
of
they
them
talk.
do.
Yeah, some of them.
Yeah.
Well, I think like Harry and the Hendersons, and then also in Red Dead, you come across the Sasquatch
Yeah.
and it talks.
Dresden Files have.
But if it was
Sasquatch,
if it is just a beast that doesn't talk and it's a beast,
Yeah.
it doesn't seem different to me than a silverback gorilla.
Right.
You know, it's strong, it's scary.
It's just that there is a lot of like, for people that really believe, they have a lot of beliefs of like what goes in with that.
Sure,
what has kept them secret for so long.
I
Does
see.
that- you know what I'm saying?
I like the apes from Congo. I wrote that.
yep,
Those are good ones.
yeah,
They're good.
they're great.
They're good. And you had a thing for the sign language one.
Ugly gorilla. Remember that?
What a tease.
I know you are, but what am I?
Brad,
flirting-
make yourself scarce.
Me flirting with Amy.
Waffling out the door.
Amy, pretty. You're damn right.
You're
she
damn
is.
right. you are. The one finger lift of the chin of the gorilla. Okay, next question. This is why this is fun. That was the first one, right? Jesus, I love it. This one's fun. You meet the perfect person. All right? Look at that. That was so beautiful.
Also, cut to like last week when it's like you meet your antagonist. And
Yeah, and you
point
both
at-
pointed at each other. For the listeners only, Chug and Brad both gestured to each other in terms of meeting the perfect person. Meanwhile, the guy reading it feels like a real piece of shit. And also tells, I think it tells the viewer listener a little bit more of like how this breaks down.
You pick
know?
up your little book.
Yeah. Do you have a book that's like
Do two of them together.
toxic codependent people?
Yes.
I have more things. So you meet the perfect person. Romantically, this person is ideal. You find them physically attractive,
Okay.
intellectually stimulating, consistently funny, and deeply compassionate. However,
I'm thinking of Natalie. All those things. I'm thinking of Natalie.
There you go.
My
I,
girlfriend.
I sense there's something coming after this word. However,
however,
Nah.
yeah. I mean, do we have to say we're thinking of our significant?
No,
yeah,
no.
I thought of Kalina when I read that whole thing. I
thought of
pictured her in my mind.
I thought
Well.
I thought of Kalina.
Where's my book?
That little black
I
book.
go home. I can't do the podcast anymore. Why? Brad finds you intellectually stimulating and deeply compassionate. Just because I put that Band-Aid on his knee that time?
After she
Pulled
kissed,
that thorn out of his paw.
after she kissed it, it stopped hurting.
That's because all the blood rushed to your penis. So, however, there is one quirk.
Uh-oh.
This person has. This individual, this person who's perfect for you,
Yes.
is obsessed with Jim Henson's gothic puppet fantasy, The Dark Crystal. Beyond watching it on DVD at least once a month, he or she peppers casual conversation with Dark Crystal references, uses Dark Crystal analogies to explain everyday events, and occasionally likes to talk intensely about the film's deeper philosophy. Would this be enough to stop you from marrying this individual?
No.
I am almost 46 years old and single and have been single for a long time. It is not stopping me.
I don't know what could stop him.
I don't like.
What
I
if
don't
they're
care
obsessed with a different movie,
she,
say Birth of a Nation?
I was gonna say if she was an actual Skeksis but she's still gonna like rub my back in the morning.
Yeah. You still love that buzzard-looking lady? That's fair.
I wonder. I mean, it's tough because I'd have to see.
The movie.
Well, I mean, I do. Do you get annoyed with? Is there anyone in your life at any point in time? We're not going to name names where you know someone who brings up one specific thing all the time.
Yes.
Quotes it.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Is this like
it's
a-
you and it's yourself that you're obsessed with. You bring it up all the time. You quote it
A
constantly.
wise
No, that was
man,
just a fun joke.
a wise
That was a
man
fun
once
joke.
said.
But do you? Because I
That
can
was just a fun joke.
I can remember times in my life where people, and I'm sure we all have dealt with someone
Yeah.
quoting a movie and just you kind of like rolling your eyes and being. But is there anyone you've ever dealt with that actually has been so obsessed with a
Like
specific
a
thing?
one singular thing.
or even a type of thing?
I do have one, but I don't want to talk about it when we're recording because this person is currently in my life and I don't want them to see this.
Well, can you give an analog? Give an analog of the thing.
And it's Nazi memorabilia, right?
No, I'm fine with that.
So like, let's say it's Ninja Turtles, but it let people be like it's biker mice from Mars. You know what I mean? Like give an analog. Version of
It's you know what? It's Celine Dion.
Okay, and they're just super into Celine Dion.
Super into Celine
talking about her
Dion,
songs all the time,
quoting lyrics and all that
Yeah.
stuff. It's weird because I'm like, I have no problem with this, but I like Celine Dion, but I don't love Celine Dion. But there are things in my life I recognize
Sure.
that I talk about all the time. Chuck Staten, that other people are tired of hearing. Specifically, Ray Harrington. Yeah.
No, I don't know. I can't imagine it bothering me that much. But then again, maybe I just haven't experienced enough of it.
I think I have to experience the severity of it.
Me too.
Yeah.
Does that
That's
make
what I
sense?
think. Same thing.
If it's their entire personality, then no, I can't commit to that. I think.
Right.
I know.
I don't
think.
know because I have to be in
I
the situation.
know.
Because guess what? Love is love,
Right.
right?
Yep.
And I think everybody that has a significant other or has been in a relationship that is time tested or whatever, they have to overlook flaws.
Yeah.
Right.
Everyone has flaws.
I think so.
right?
Yes.
I have a ton of them.
Oh my
Let me
God.
list them. Number 1, little toe, right foot.
Number one. Number one. I obsessively make lists.
Number 2, I never let it go. Number 49. But yeah, I think you can overlook flaws. I think there are things that like I've joked with Kalina about stuff where I have said to her on multiple occasions, like goofing around, like in a playful way. I don't just like walk into a room and go, "Hey, this," right?
Yeah.
But like she'll do something or say something, like she has these little isms that I think are cute.
Yes.
Yeah.
That I have said to her, like, if you did that when we were dating, we wouldn't be married, right? Like just joking around.
Yeah, of course.
But I think that's a true thing, right?
Yeah.
And so if that person is obsessed with the Dark Crystal, I think you can overlook that. But I guess the question is ultimately, like, when you are just dating, I don't know if I would look at somebody that's decked out in Dark Crystal clothes, quoting Dark Crystal, talking about, like, if we even do go on a date, the first date is like, let's watch Dark Crystal.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm getting much further beyond that
Right.
to get into, like, oh, I love this person
Right.
and this is connection for me.
Yes.
I can overlook this. I think right away you're just like, that person's a little kooky.
Yeah, that
You know what I mean?
Yeah, agreed. I mean,
Yeah.
It's because there's also like I can change them. Like I can expose them to new movies and new media that maybe they don't have as much.
And what if they fight it? What if they really,
know.
really fight it? Like, what if the closest they can come is enjoying a movie because it reminds them of the Dark Crystal?
Yeah.
You know?
that's funny.
It's weird. I loved the Netflix show, The Age of Resistance, the Dark Crystal sequel. I thought it was great. One of my favorites, but I watched it once and I thought it was great.
That's fair.
I've dated people. I think everyone I've dated has a main thing that they like a lot, but it never felt like it dominated any sort of time in our relationship. So it's hard
Yeah.
to tell. It's really hard to.
Well,
This is
it
a
was
hard
busy
one.
being dominated by the things that you like.
Yes.
It is really tough to gauge
Yeah.
how obsessive this person
And
is.
can I say this? I think this is interesting. We're 3 men
Yes.
talking about this. And I think it's more socially acceptable for men to have an obsession with something like a movie thing like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Versus
weird because
women.
I was like, what movies would be a problem? Birth of a Nation or whatever. But I'm like, if I were a woman and I met a man who was obsessed with the movie Garden State, I'm running the other way.
Why?
Because they want that movie epitomizes the manic pixie dream girl
Sure.
motif.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kalina.
What was that? Yeah.
I don't know.
Kalina's
All
a-
that shit's overblown to me. Garden State's fine. Who cares?
But yeah, but they're obsessed with it.
I feel like people kind of criticize that in the same way that they criticize Fight Club, where they pretend that everyone that likes Fight Club thinks that they think that Fight Club is the best and they don't understand the actual
Sure.
thing.
Yeah.
No,
And
I
like,
understand liking Garden State. Like my wife really likes
Yeah.
Garden
Yeah,
State.
of course.
But I understand where you're coming from with this. This epitomizes this
Right.
particular thing.
Yeah.
I think it is interesting. Like my wife loves Titanic.
Yep.
When she was in high school,
Titanic's
it came
a big
out.
one.
She went and saw it like so many times in the theater. She loves the movie.
Yeah.
A friend of the podcast, Lee Leshin, got her like a signed cover page of one of the scripts from Kate
cool.
Winslet.
Yeah. That's very cool.
You know, what a wonderful gift. When we were just in Ireland, we went to Cove, and Cove has the first emigration point where like shit happened.
Yep.
Belfast is where the Titanic was actually launched, you know, stuff like that. So she was really excited about that stuff. And, you know, we went to the little museum thing and saw some stuff. And I did the same joke from the studio tour that we did of Abbey Road. I did it in there.
Oh, nice.
I was like, there's all this stuff about the Titanic.
Yeah.
What was the significance of that?
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
like just
yeah,
doing that
yeah,
stupid
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
But anyway, she loves it, but it's also not something that she's like, she talks about it all the time.
Right.
She's quoting it all the time. She watches it every month. Like, it's not that level.
I know.
So it is a little tricky, but I do think there's a weird gender thing here. I
Yeah.
think men, it's more socially acceptable to be obsessive about a pop cultural thing than it is for women.
You know what is a better, I think, analog for this? Is guys becoming consumed with a specific sport during a specific time of the year. Where that's fucking, like, to me,
I'm like, this is extremely boring.
so to me, that's way more likely to be an actual thing you deal with in a way that's like, holy fuck, shut the fuck up. Than someone being like, I like this individual movie so much that I talk about it. I guess because with a movie, it comes out at a certain time.
Yeah.
It has a rise of popularity or whatever.
Yeah.
It goes down. Maybe it has a cult following. Maybe it has a sequel. But otherwise, it's not really in the sphere of culture. Whereas, like, someone who is obsessed with baseball for whatever a period of time every year, and that's their whole thing, it becomes more like, oh, well, everyone's talking about it, and everything they do is about this, and every radio show, and every podcast, and every TV show, ESPN's covering it. Blah, blah. It's like that can get dominating.
Sure.
Feels
Whereas
like a personal
I think,
attack.
I think that,
Or like the guy that
You don't
gets
like
all
baseball
like
that
crypto. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
oh, crypto, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. But I think that the idea of, like, I guess with something like Dark Crystal or any movie, individual movie, it's like there's not that much stuff you can do to experience this or take up your time with this. It's like, what, are you going to watch it again? Whereas, you know, during baseball season, like, how much stuff is happening every day, all week about baseball that's coming out.
Yeah.
Like, when I got into the Patriots a couple of years ago, just because Tom Brady was having like a historic run, and I was like, oh, you know what? Not paying attention to this while it's happening is almost like not paying attention to the Bulls if you lived in Chicago in 1993.
Right.
It's kind of dumb. Just be part of the cultural thing that's cool. And I was watching the games, and I was trying to get into it, and I was listening to some podcasts, but the amount of shit, I was like, I could spend every hour of every day finding something that's covering this fucking team.
Yeah.
Yes.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it's an entire industry.
It's all consuming in a real way.
Yes.
So I think that might be a more realistic problem.
I will say this. I think if it is specifically Dark Crystal,
Yes.
the part where I'm like, I can't do it. I'm out. I got to pull the cord on this. Is I can't look at those main character little thingies for too long. They look so ugly. You know what I'm talking about? You've seen it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they look like squish faces.
Yeah. For a film done by a man who is known to have created so many amazingly animated faces of puppetry
Yep.
and is the guy, Jim
Yes.
Henson.
Yep.
For him to create the main character Muppet things for those movies be so, like, bad. You know what I mean? Like, no real expression. It's weird. The only movement is the mouth opening and closing.
It is
and it's
weird.
like a weird latexy look to it. Is a very bizarre move.
It is weird, especially, and this is funny, I put on YouTube videos in the background all the time, and I was watching one about the original Ninja Turtles movie, and it was talking really in depth about Jim Henson and the puppetry of the faces.
Yeah.
And I'm watching it, I'm like, wow, they really did a good job actually making them look not identical.
Right.
They don't, they
Yeah,
don't-
there's details there, yeah.
Even though there's no noses, there's no ears, it's pretty tough
Yeah.
to do. And the Dark Crystal puppets, yeah, they do seem like someone was like, here's a race of people that I drew, and we're just going to stick to that exactly. Although, do they have the crow though, or like a bird, or is that
Well,
the other
the
one?
bad guys are the bird, crow, vulture things.
Yeah.
Those things look.
Those
awesome.
are great. Yeah,
Yeah.
But
That
the
design
whole
is
rest
killer.
of the stuff is all populated with amazing
Yes.
Henson production stuff.
Yeah.
But then those main things, I'm like, ugh, I don't know about this.
Yeah.
But interesting question. I think we got time for one more.
Yep. By the way, I know you said you think sports are boring, but I want to let you know that the Bears got Caleb Williams, so they're not going to be boring anymore.
I
Super Bowl, baby!
and to break the fourth wall a little bit, I don't think of you as one of those guys, but those guys exist.
Oh, yeah.
Those guys like,
And I can't stand it.
It's like while the football season is happening, it's like, nah, don't talk to that guy.
Yeah.
That's how it feels. It feels like, nah, everything you talk about will just be that.
Yeah, that's boring.
I think there's a level of self-awareness with my obsession.
Yeah, I don't think it's. I don't even think it's the same at all. I don't think it's from. I think it's 10% of the guy that I'm talking about.
Thank you, but don't look at my YouTube watch history.
Well, that's fine.
That's different.
People could say that I'm obsessed with movies if they look at my YouTube, and I am. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People could say I'm obsessed with carry-on packing. If you look at my recent history.
That's funny.
Okay, last question. We've got more here, but I want to get to this kind of stuff.
Yes.
And I think we should do this again. It is fun. It's a
Yes.
good
Oh, it's fun.
conversational thing.
Yeah.
This one's interesting. You meet a wizard in downtown Chicago. The wizard tells you
Harry
he can
Dresden.
make you more attractive if you pay him money.
I take it.
When you ask how this process works, the wizard points to a random person on the street. You look at this random person. The wizard says, I will now make them $1 more attractive. He waves his magic wand. Ostensibly, I always want to say ostensibly, but it's ostensibly, this person does not change at all. As far as you can tell, nothing is different. Okay. But somehow, this person is suddenly a little more appealing. The tangible difference is invisible to the naked eye, but you can't deny that this person is vaguely sexier. The wizard has a weird rule, though. You can only pay him once. You can't keep paying him money until you're satisfied. You can only pay him one lump sum up front. How much cash do you give the wizard?
To affect you?
To affect you.
Oh my god.
This is here's the funny thing. We joked about earlier, like with toxic stuff and like ego and all that stuff.
Yep.
That is off the table now. What we are talking about truly is insecurity.
Yes.
And I promise you, I am literally like, how much money can I accomplish getting right now?
I'm going to a bank. I'm robbing a bank.
I'm robbing a bank.
I'm trying to think of how much of my life savings I could comfortably give away.
Ooh, now that's a different question. So the joke is like, I'm just going to give you everything I can, right?
Yeah.
But that is another wrinkle. How much could you willingly give up?
Can I ask one more question about this?
Yeah.
So we saw him give the guy $1, and the guy is a little bit more appealing.
Yeah.
Are we still doubtful about the magician?
I think at this point we've seen proof, quote unquote.
But enough proof, or are we kind of like, this is, I don't know, is this a grift?
I mean, I guess you could conceivably think of it as a grift. Like maybe it's a trick of the mind that you see them $1 more attractive.
Yeah, but if I then give him X amount of dollars, then I'm carrying myself as though I am X amount of dollars more attractive.
The placebo works. Yeah. But I guess in this scenario, I think we have to assume the reality of the scenario, right? Like a hypothetical question.
Yep.
We understand this is a hypothetical. This wizard can make you look more attractive.
Here's what I do. I give him a lot of money, like thousands of dollars, but then I murder him so that nobody else can make themselves as attractive as me.
Oh, so you're like you've Dorian Grayed yourself in a very strange way.
Yeah, there's a great song called "Jeff Found a Genie," and it's about a famous rich Jeff. His last name isn't important. Bezos. And he kills the genies
Pesos.
so that
Jeff Bezos.
so that no one else can make the same wishes that he did.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
Jeff Pathos.
No, doesn't
matter.
I'm giving
When's my package coming? Who cares?
I'm giving
Who cares?
thousands of dollars to this wizard to make myself more attractive.
and it's so funny because it's not a vanity thing. It really is
it's an
just
insecurity,
an insecurity
thing. Because
thing.
I'm like, let me give you thousands of dollars to get up to the baseline.
yeah. So I would genuinely love to be able to say like, here's $500, make my weird eye go away. here's another $500. Make me a little skinnier, please. You know, like I would love to be able to do
it's so
that.
weird because
I have
in the
a couple
absence
thoughts.
of wizardry,
Can you make my penis just a little smaller because I can't
Porcupine.
fully enjoy myself?
the like you can pay money to have imperfections removed.
Sure.
But it's not magical.
No, and it that feels like a different process altogether.
yes.
You know.
All right, so here's a couple of things. One wrinkle. I'd
I'd
that'd
pay
be like
$1 to have it
25
removed.
well, using Ray as an example,
Hello.
does it change things from Brad to Ray, single boy, married man?
Yeah.
You are not looking for a new partner.
Not yet. Wait until I spend all this money on being beautiful.
How Harrington got his groove back.
Yeah.
Wait till you spend your life savings. Kalina's like, I can't be with someone who is so
So
irresponsible
beautiful.
with money, but also so beautiful.
Yeah. that's
How
fair.
Harrington got his groove back, and you go to the movie, goes, I paid a magician.
I paid, not a magician, a wizard. There's a difference. Magician is whoa, clap, clap, clap. Wizard is like, oh, that guy is magical, right? Yeah, clap, clap, clap.
I know. So one thing is weird is like if you're not looking for a new partner,
Yeah.
how much do you care about it? I'm dealing with this in real life because I was doing a lot of like exercise and eating well and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
And now I'm with someone seriously, and Brad's like, let's get a monstrous box of French fries yesterday. And I'm like,
That was not my
oh, it was Jordan. It
suggestion.
was Jordan.
Thank you.
Brad ate a monstrous box.
Yes, he did.
Okay.
But like, I'm like, if I was still single,
Yeah.
I don't think I would have eaten the
Yeah,
French
but
fries.
that's the stereotype of most relationship things,
I
right?
know, I agree.
Yeah.
But that is a thing to think about.
Oh,
Is,
sure.
are you looking for a partner or you're not?
Yeah.
Okay, that's A. B, my two answers are, if it's just exactly what you said, I think I'm going to go, I'll throw $500 at this and we'll see what happens.
But here's the problem.
I know you can't do
If
more.
it works,
I know.
for the rest of your life, you're going to be like, why didn't I do 1,000?
Of
Yeah.
course,
You know?
of course. But $500 is the most I can say in my head.
You threw
where-
it away.
Where I'm just like, I don't really know if this is going to work that much. That guy was
Yeah.
a little bit more appealing, but if there was some sort of measured thing, like
Yeah.
if there was a little bit more information and I could see more proof, and I'm 100% sure every dollar
Yeah.
counts, it could get high, baby.
Oh, yeah.
It could
well,
get
here's
real
Here's
high.
the other problem. The three of us
Yeah.
are sitting here on a visual medium, being recorded. We have different work backgrounds. For myself, I'm a stand-up comedian. People look at me. There is a weird part of this as an investment as well,
Of
where
course.
I'm like,
Ooh.
well, I audition for crap and I do stand-up comedy.
Of course.
and I've been on television.
Yes.
And I don't like the way I look in
course.
any of those scenarios, it would be lovely to be like, I'm going to give this wizard $2,000, but I know I'm going to make that back so fast.
Yeah.
Oh,
You know
I
what I
think-
mean?
I
Even
think-
if I just start becoming a jiggy low.
That's what I was going to do.
I
See?
think anything towards the entertainment industry,
Yeah.
as of however many years ago, being attractive
Is a requirement.
is huge, 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 huge,
Yes.
huge. And we've seen that play out a lot. So that is interesting to think about
Yep.
because it's not about you attracting a mate. It's
No.
about you being appealing to a wide audience.
Also, I think about the just like how you navigate the world. It
Yeah.
is undeniable
Yeah.
that attractive people have an easier time of getting through the world.
It's true.
You know what I mean?
Oh,
if I
for
if
sure.
I was 3,000 wizard dollars more handsome, I bet I'd get bump ups on flights.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Stuff
right.
like that. You got to think about that stuff.
I think as it lays,
Yeah.
500 I'm doing.
Uh-huh.
But if I had more,
And I'm laughing. I'm like, you're a fucking idiot. And I'm just putting everything in there. How much? How much?
I'm-
Kalina, sell the house.
I know the deed to
Sell
the house.
We'll get a bigger one when I'm handsome.
I'm robbing Chuck to pay.
Yeah. You and I look at each other and then we jump Chuck. Just take everything.
It's like the three xenomorphs in the tank in Alien 4
Yeah,
when
yeah.
they can't get out and then they realize that if they kill that one, they can get through the floor.
yeah, it's so
yeah.
funny. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's it is an interesting question. And I think the fun of this question with us, I think what makes us us,
Yeah.
the Funbearable fun boy bear people
Yeah.
that we are.
Now that's good.
That we really did just have to immediately say, like, This has nothing to do with ego, nothing to do with vanity. It's the exact opposite.
Yeah, exactly.
And I just don't want shame.
Yeah, I know.
So here's money.
That's how I feel.
It
Yeah.
is so funny.
Whenever someone's like, give a big ego, I'm like, whew, you got to flip, baby.
Yep.
We're in the upside down.
Well, to bring it back to the book, I will say that the ego situation is fairly clear. The egotist, the motto for this person is, it's all about me. They have an insatiable desire to demonstrate their own self-importance and enlist others to boost their self-esteem. That would be you, Brad. With no need for humility, these people are most often described as prideful, arrogant, boastful, and conceited. Being self-centered is generally agreed to be an off-putting quality, but these people don't really care because they are, well, self-centered. Blah, 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 blah. However, the egotist, it comes from insecurity.
Right.
Is what this
The upside
book,
down.
is what this book taught me. And there are drama queens, but there are also crisis kings.
Crisis Kings. What's that?
It's the male drama queen.
Oh, I get it.
It's like a ballerino.
I was hoping it'd be a different thing, like a.
Yeah, it's
Somebody who's good in a
But
crisis.
the crisis king
create
struck a chord with me. Did you say any of the following in the post office?
Uh-oh.
It's all too much. I can't take much more of this. My life is crashing down around me, and I'm on the verge of total meltdown.
I wish I did now.
You're like, these are good sayings. I need to write these
so
down.
weird.
That's so funny.
It's all too much. It's just the way you said it. It's so
but
weird.
I just thought, I wanted to get the full 450 out of this book.
Money
it was
well
very
spent.
silly. It was just a fun goof. I hope you didn't take any of it personally,
No, it was
Chuck.
very fun.
It's
like a little mirror for you.
yeah. No, I said it all applies to
I know,
all
I
of us.
know.
It's and I did see another one that I couldn't find cheaper. But one day that $7.99 joke is going to work with Brad.
The Taming of the Shrew.
How to deal with snuggly cats.
Yeah.
Oh, that wasn't the book. But no, this was a lot of fun. We should definitely revisit these questions.
No,
I
it's
think
fun.
they're
Yeah,
a
that
fun
was fun.
conversation thing.
Wow. Imagine being more attractive.
And I think for the viewer listener, our Funbearable audience, these questions are fun because I've done this too. When I hear a hypothetical, like even if I'm not part of the conversation, I'm thinking of my answer.
Yeah.
Oh, for
So if
sure.
you have a unique angle on any of these questions, please do reach out to us at funbearablepod@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you about that, and we will read them on a later episode in 2026.
No, I will say we are getting really good at catching up on the email. We're almost all the way caught up. We've made a concerted effort to catch up with all the emails, and we're getting there.
We are.
Right?
Yeah.
I think one way that the Fun Bear audience, like, first of all, super attractive people across the board.
They should get money from that wizard.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's how attractive they are.
And one way for them to like maintain
think
that
they all met the
attractiveness
wizard.
is to subscribe, rate the podcast 5 stars, share the podcast.
Yes, please.
Tell friends. Let's bump those numbers up.
Aggressively.
Yeah, but like kindly, but kind aggressive.
Yeah.
Check us out on socials at Funbearable Pod. Always happy to hear from y'all. For Ray Harrington and Chuck Staten, I'm Brad Rohr saying thank you so much, and we're sorry for being Funbearable.
I wouldn't exclude sexual favors to the wizard.
Yeah.
I will
No
be fully
way.
honest.
What-
I mean,
I'd rather do that.
save that money. You're frugal.
I told you guys I was frugal. And I go back down.